Good day folks, today you join me standing in the churchyard at the Parish Church of Checkley, just outside of Uttoxeter in Staffordshire. And we're here today to take a look at some of the more unusual features of this most historic of parishes. Now records state that there's been religious activity on this site for hundreds and hundreds if not thousands of years, and there's certainly evidence of a religious activity here that predates the building of the church itself. And at this point I'm going to pick up the camera and we're going to take a look around the churchyard and hopefully a look at the church itself. Okay folks, so here we are looking at the first of one or two interesting features on this church. Now what we'll look at in front of us are the bases of three Anglo-Saxon crosses, the tops of which have been lost over the years. But these probably date from sort of the 9th or even the 8th century, or possibly earlier. And they've probably been on this site, or at least one or more of them has probably been on this site for over 1,000 years. Local legend states that they were representative of three local bishops. Whether that's true or not, I'm not entirely sure. But nonetheless, these were probably preaching crosses, where people would gather to hear the priest's sermon, probably before the establishment of the church building itself. And at this point we're going to go up and take a closer look. Okay, so if we move in a bit closer, you'll start to see some of the more intricate patterns on the crosses. They've been well weathered over the years, so there's not much left of them, but the one here looks like it could have been a depiction of maybe Christ on the cross, or at least it looks like a sort of human form shape. Moving on to the next one. And some sort of like Celtic pattern common on crosses from this sort of era. And the last one is almost perfectly smooth now. It's been very, very well weathered indeed over the years, so there's not much more to say about that really. This is probably the best preserved one of the lot. Nonetheless, it's unusual to find like three of these together, but they aren't entirely unique. There's quite a few of them in churchyards around the country. Okay, and now we'll move on to another unusual feature. Okay, so now we're looking at the church wall itself, and I don't know if you can tell there, if I zoom in, but this part of the church is literally covered in like little grooves that look like scratch marks, and these are quite common all around the church. And it's believed that these date to the time when it was compulsory to practice archery in Great Britain, sort of in the late Middle Ages. And it's believed that these marks were created by people when they were practicing who were sharpening their arrows on the side of the church. And because of that, the church is sort of marked all over by them. In that era, it was quite common to practice archery in the churchyard, mainly because of the open location, I guess. And it's also it's another interesting thing, is it's also the origin of the presence of yew trees in the churchyard, allegedly because yew was an ideal wood for the making of longbows, and it was compulsory to practice archery at that time because it really gave sort of the English armies an edge in battle, as evidenced in famous battles such as Agincourt and Crécy. So it was actually law that every man capable of fighting must practice with the longbow and also the quarterstaff as well. And this is allegedly the origin of these marks on the outside of the church. Okay, this time we're looking at the window on the end of the church. And unfortunately, as is becoming a problem with many parish churches across the country now, it's not actually open to the public on a regular basis. Outside of sort of service hours, which is a shame really, because there are many interesting features inside this church as well. One of them that it's noted for is its use of stained glass, and a few of the windows allegedly date back to sort of the 12th century or even earlier, and it's believed that one portion of the window is actually constructed out of painted glass, which predates even the use of stained glass in medieval churches, so it's quite a rare thing. If I just move the camera around a little bit, if we get a bit closer to the window over there, you can see it a bit more clearly. So we're here taking a closer look at some of the stained glass inside the church. Now I'm not entirely sure what sort of era this dates from, because obviously it could have been replaced a lot over the years. This one looks considerably more modern than the examples I was telling you about, but nonetheless it's probably the best we're going to be able to see today, unfortunately. But hopefully if you come down on maybe Sunday morning when services are going on, you'd be able to get inside and take a closer look. Apparently one more interesting feature, although I haven't actually seen this myself, is that some intricate carvings inside the church are believed to represent sort of Native Americans, and it's believed that they were carved sort of in the 1500s, so it wouldn't be long after the discovery of the Americas itself. And why they're sort of here in the middle of nowhere is somewhat of a mystery, really. But yeah, I can't exactly vouch for that because I haven't seen them myself. But hopefully, if you do come down and you can get inside the church, you'll be able to look out for them on the ends of the pews. And it's also got a very nice, intricate Norman font as well inside. So basically, this entire church and this entire parish is steeped in history, and it's a very interesting one for fans of the medieval period. And interestingly, the churchyard also comes with its resident ghost as well, apparently, so maybe you'll be lucky enough to spot her walking around. But for now we'll leave it here. This has been Checkley, just outside of Uttoxeter in Staffordshire. It's nearby to Alton Towers as well, so it's handy. Okay, thank you very much for joining me today. I'll see you next time.